It's to see him walk in with a frown and out with a smile. It's the occasional and actually not all that rare thank you that's not pro forma, but really is seriously meant. It's just someone that takes a moment to pause and tell me just enough about their life to tell me why they come here and what it means to them.
I'm Ocean Chestnut. I want to thank all of you for coming today. I want to thank Greg and Julia for the immense role that they played in organizing all of this. I know that Deward would be very proud and very pleased today. Deward would talk to me about just his inner worlds. He talked to all his cats. He talked about being a troll and all the women being fairies. I said, Deward, there's this bright sea of angels swirling above the tub. And the next day when I saw him, I said, they're really beautiful. And he said, I know. And we know how he passed away, but it brings me great peace to know that he's so highly regarded in heaven. We all got together yesterday. I just want to show you something really quick. All painted. The angels that, like all of the girls, all the people that knew him very well.
Deward Henry Hastings was born January 24th, 1944, to Deward B. and Gertrude Hastings. He grew up in San Mateo with his parents and his grandmother, who called him Dewey. He was an only child, and his boyhood best friend was Charlie, who has joined us today from British Columbia. Where are you, Charlie? Alberta. It took little time conversing with Deward to notice that he was exceedingly intelligent. And this was true from childhood, where his precociousness and anti-authoritarian resistance to dimmer ideas than what he himself could see began. Deward's applied understanding of electronics began as a boy through exposure to his father's ham radio gear. In school, he excelled in mathematics, physics, and chemistry, and majored in chemistry for 2 years at Cal before leaving to support the free speech movement, running their printing presses. He began his lifelong passion to support performances from backstage and donning his ubiquitous black attire in high school, running theater lighting. He later parlayed this passion into years being a beverage manager at the Renaissance Fair, stage managing for his dear friend George Cleave at the San Jose Symphony and Midsummer Mozart. He also stage managed for Coronova and, of course, for our beloved hot tub. His ability to see how to make the world better extended far beyond the material and into extraordinary personal generosity. You represent hope, healing, and magic in a highly practical and tangible way. Your positive impact and good example has been written into our lives and hearts permanently. Your passing leaves a large and Deward-shaped space in our lives that no one will ever fill. We will love and miss you always.
Deward and I always had these really sweet morning chats. I'd come out in the morning for my little morning walk, and he would be out there kind of pacing up and down the street in front of the house. And he had his big cup of glass, beer glass of coffee in his hand. And he would just be he'd be just pacing, right? Morning, Deward, how's it going? I'm like, hi, how's it going? Cheerful, and he's like,
People will be mad at you for dying because you are offensive even in death. And if you know Deward well, he was offensive.
The part of aging that's difficult for me to understand is slowly losing everyone and everything you love, and then just carrying on. I've been young for longer than you've been old. That's what he told me. Sometimes it was just talking, sometimes it was organizing stuff, cleaning stuff, hanging out, listening to stories, or sometimes we get a crazy idea to renovate this old stove that belonged to his parents and take it all apart, de-rust it, put it back together again so that he would have a brand new stove. Only halfway through the project we realized that the stove is entirely made of rust. And I'm thinking, like, what am I doing? What have I done with my life? Like, why am I taking apart this old stove? But it all made sense because we were together. He could take nothing and build a palace from it. I just have a yard. Just a yard. I just have a tub. It's just a tub. And now I just have a sanctuary, and it's my job to share it with as many people as possible. Make cool shit and share it with as many people as possible.
Testes, 1, 2, 3. That was for Deward, of course, because we first met in grade 7, and when he came to visit us in Canada, we took him skiing, cross-country skiing, but not just, puttering along the trails. We took him to the Columbia ice fields in Jasper, if you know that, and there's a photo of that which I would commend you take a look at. In there, and he's on Saskatchewan Glacier, which is about a 5-mile glacier going up to a 110 square mile ice field. Deward was up for that. That's pretty up. That's the part of Deward I will never forget. He, like me, was a naturalist freak in many senses, I suppose. So I think that's enough. Thank you very much.
What we thought was going to be maybe a night or two ended up being 2 years. And during that time, some of my favorite moments were just talking with him. He would pull out a tub of mint chocolate chip ice cream from the freezer, and I'd sit on the floor of the kitchen. He'd pull up a stool, and he would just tell me about his life. And some of my favorite stories were him talking about the Renaissance Fair community and the bliss-seeking ninnies of the 70s, or I don't know what the term. I feel so grateful that he was willing to be my friend at a time that I felt really like needing of a friend, and that I really appreciate the community that he created with all of us, the characterfulness that he brought together. He was really dedicated to just creating magic for other people. And so yeah, thank you all.
My favorite phrase from Deward was, "I know nothing," which would usually follow hours of driving up the coast, talking about everything under the sun while being interviewed by a Gemini. So he knows something about nothing, that's for sure. People say he doesn't have any living family, but this is his living family.
I often say that if I ever have an autobiography, the title of that chapter would be called "There Are Naked Strangers in My Backyard." Deward, who you were and what you were was always in service to your reverence for the bigger picture, for the inspired souls, the creative energy, and the intellectual insights that swirled around your orbit on any given day. I miss you, dear friend, and I miss the times that you were a barefoot walk away. Thank you for being such a special presence and influential force in my life. You will forever be a part of who I am in this world.
I will forever adore and remember your laugh and your exclamatory remarks that I could hear through our bedroom windows whenever you were tickled about some fantasy book you were reading that week. The sight of you on your stairs waving at me, eating a piece of watermelon with pink juice dripping down your beard. Our morning moments when you would wander down your back porch steps, naked, coffee in hand, readying yourself for Monday tub maintenance. Your heart was so generous, not in just the ways you created the tub and its healing sanctuary, but it was also the countless ways you came to people's aid. Whether it was offering someone a place to live in trying times, or even simpler ways when you would let me borrow a tool for a project, or your car when mine continuously kept breaking down. You were always such a yes man when it came to those things, and you did it with a glimmer in your eye, as if being in service is the only right and natural thing to do. Thank you for being such a lovable curmudgeon. I will forever miss and cherish you.
Oh, the times of the 80s and the 90s. There were so many parties in Berkeley, the cool ecstatic days when the dead were raging, when the burn was geminal. You'd be strolling down Berkeley streets on weekend nights and hear a party. You'd wind up, and if you were a male, had a proper escort, at the Essex hot tub. Yes, it's free and woman-friendly! Exclamation, exclamation, end parenthesis. And our elusive benefactor, our backstage hand, nowhere to be found. Generous, humble. Gone are the days. Thank you, Deward. Thank you.
I recognize so many of you. I would recognize you more without your clothes on. I feel so privileged to have been a participant and a recipient of this great social experiment, really. And the best of art as a social practice and an artwork that touched all of us in such a profound and amazing way.
I can't tell you how many times I was in Deward's backyard and just I fell to pieces and then found myself again and found my soul, reconnected with my soul because of the tub. Sexuality, nakedness, self-acceptance, the body, women, like, oh my gosh, I feel like I'm not the only one who had some awakenings in those arenas because of the tub, so thank you all.
I only met him not naked twice. Once, as I parked in the handicap zone right in front of his house, he was tinkering with his car, and I got up the courage because I kind of had a crush on him, and I went up to him and I said, are you Mr. Hot Tub? And he said, it's my yard, yeah. and I did the little prayer thing, but I didn't say namaste because I didn't feel like he was into it. And I said, thank you so much for opening your space to us. I've only been coming here for like 2 years, but thank you.
And I love that here's this place. If you describe it, it's very new agey sounding. Some guy who has this hot tub and people are naked and you can use it and the redwoods, whatever. And I just feel like there was always a good amount of eye roll with Deward. Like there was always like, oh yeah, you know, and the curmudgeon thing or the troll thing or whatever. But I so appreciated that because if you had just been like, hello, beautiful sister, I would be like, oh, like, can't do it, you know. You know, it's the Berkeleyest thing I've ever experienced in Berkeley. And it really is. So, thanks.
I wanted to offer a gift in the spirit of generosity of Deward, to pick out a crystal on your way out, and I have some little bags I can put them in for you. And I just want to thank Deward so much for his kind, generous, quirky, brilliant soul, and I know he's still with us today. And lastly, I picked an angel card for him today, and it was peace. Yeah.
it really pissed me off that he didn't go to the doctor and that he didn't have a healthy diet. And even though he said, don't bring me food on holidays, I brought him plates of food that were healthy. And he would say, but that's gonna make me fat.
Nobody here has yet spoken about Deward's incredible love for music, particularly music that was no later than Mozart. Deward had a beautiful bass voice. I heard him sing one line from one song and I went, why is this man not singing more? It was gorgeous.
A dear sister told me of this magical forest portal with a hot water tub, and it sounded too good to be true. We walked on an epic journey adventure in the middle of the night. She didn't remember exactly where it was, and we walked up and down the street searching for a lion head fountain. When we finally found it, we squealed in delight.
Oh my God!
And we snuck through the gate on someone else's code as they entered in. When we arrived, I just couldn't believe it. How was this possible, and who would do something like this? I felt a deep longing to say thank you and to give back in some way. I came back early the next morning to see if it was a dream, this time with honey to share with others. My heart was full and I was singing in the shower. I was one of those ones who completely missed the instructions. When I introduced myself as Creature, I felt something open inside him, and he invited me inside his house to meet his possum friend, who was also named Creature. Let's keep Essex alive, Deward alive in our hearts and actions and prayers. Thank you.
It's nice to see you again. It's nice to be here celebrating Deward.
I keep coming down every Monday and cleaning the tub. And so I guess in that sense, home. A place to have some place. Some purpose, some reason to be.